Welcome to The Soul Space, the podcast that inspires you to discover your truth, ignite your passion, and align your life with the power of who you really are. I'm Georgia Rose, psychic astrologer. I share the cosmic roadmap that guided me through astrology, tarot, and inner knowing into authentic living. I'm here to help you decode your soul's cosmic story, reconnect with your passion, and create the life you are meant to live. It all starts within, and it all starts now in the soul space. Hey, beautiful souls. Welcome to another episode of the Soul Space podcast with Georgia Rose. I am... Oh, that's so sweet. Didn't need that part. Okay. So I am your host, Georgia Rose, psychic astrologer, and I'm here every Monday night at 7 o'clock. But if you missed the show, you have two ways of getting in touch with me. You can watch me on any podcast platform, including asking your Amazon Alexa to play the latest episode of Georgia Rose, Soul Space, or you can book a private reading with me at zenkuda.com anytime. So you can find out what the stars are all aligned in your personal chart. So I am going to try something a little different tonight. We're going to be talking about Neptune conjunct Saturn in Aries. This is an energy that has never happened before in recorded history. So we're going to talk a lot about that tonight. But first, I thought I'd do something a little different tonight. As we get started, I'm going to pull a couple of cards. Spirit is telling me to pick 3 cards for tonight's broadcast, just to see what the energy is going to be like. So let's just see. This is for we have Saturn Neptune conjunction coming in globally for everyone in the world. So in Aries. So I'm going to pick some cards. Spirit, give us a hint about what this is going to bring into the world. And my first card is the 4 of Swords, which, as you guys know, 4 of Swords is a card of quiet repose. So when I see this card, it actually means that we need to take some quiet time. So with this eclipse that's happening tomorrow, we have the new moon eclipse in Aquarius, which I talked about on last week's show. You can see that on my Zenkuda on YouTube. I think that it's the time that we really need to kind of go within. Second card I'm picking is the Fool card. The Fool card in tarot can either be the first card in the tarot or the last card in the tarot, which means that you're either beginning a journey or going on the end of a journey. And that is so fitting because eclipses are beginning and ending. And my third card for tonight is the Ace of Wands, which is all new beginnings. So there you have it, guys. This really signifies the energy that's coming in. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that. But as you know, I always say we humans take ourselves way too seriously. So we start every show with a cosmic comedy. And this time, I picked one that's really going to demonstrate for you exactly what Aries energy is all about as Saturn and Neptune go in to Aries. It's time for Cosmic Comedy, where Mercury retrograde is the main character, the lunations are loony, and the stars are a punchline.
Listen, you want to know 20 random things about an Aries? Well, stay tuned in. You ready? Let go. Aries tend to be really direct, straightforward, and they don't like to beat around the bush. Aries can go from 0 to 100 real fast, just like that. So please don't test it. If an Aries does not like you, baby, they will not be fake. That face gonna let you know that they don't fuck with you. When you're in a relationship and Aries get bored, they gonna start a fight so y'all can have makeup sex. Yeah, they like that. They like to feel something. Aries are very independent. They gonna do what they want, when they want, how they want, and you can't tell them nothing. What, you trying to control me, bitch? Aries can sometimes act like a spoiled brat, and when they don't get their way, they act like a baby. Respect is very important to an Aries. So if an Aries give you respect, you better give it right back. Because if not, it's gonna be some consequences. When it comes to anything dealing with an Aries, please just shut up and hurry up and get it done. Because they don't got enough patience for that. Aries the kind of person you want to invite to your party to liven it up. Because Aries be getting lit. One thing that Aries will always do is make sure they take care of themselves first. If an Aries get any inkling that you are up to no good, baby, they'll cut you off like that. When you date an Aries, you're gonna have to constantly spice things up. Because they get bored real easy. Aries are some of the most loving, caring people you will ever meet. But please remember, when wronged, they definitely have a temper. And you don't want to wait the beast, do you? If Aries is your friend, then you have a friend to the end, baby, because Aries, they be loyal. Aries are not only big-hearted, they are hard-headed. Stubborn as hell. No matter the circumstance or the situation, no matter what it is, Aries gonna make it a competition. Aries love the spotlight and they love to be the center of attention. And that's why they're always the life of the party or a class or office clown. When an Aries gets mad, they are notorious for saying things that they regret. And they always apologize later, sometimes. And that's all I got. Go ahead and send this video to an Aries. And if you are Aries, hit that share button, okay? I love you. Bye.
So you get the gist. Aries is relentless, it's really forceful, and it is fire in the sky. So don't fool around with Aries. And we're going to have a lot of Aries energy because come April, around the other moon that we're going to have, new moon in April, we're going to have 7 planets in Aries all at the same time. So let's start tonight with the trifecta. We're going to focus tonight on Saturn and Neptune conjuncting, which means they're coming together at exactly the same degree in Aries. They're coming together at the first degree. But first, I want to lead up to this energy. My last 2 shows, I spoke about 2 things. I spoke about the eclipse, which is happening tomorrow, which is a new moon in Aquarius eclipse. And I also spoke about Saturn going into Aries, which happened on Saturday. So those 3 things combined with that Saturn-Neptune meeting up in Aries is a trifecta of energy that we have never experienced before in our lifetimes and possibly in humanity. This is the birth of a whole new world. And you're seeing it go on in your lives. You're seeing it go on outside in the planet. So we're standing inside this cosmic doorway. And as you can see from the tarot cards I pulled tonight, this is all about new beginnings. It's about being quiet, going within yourself, because this is a soul awakening and a soul remembering. Now, when I say soul awakening and soul remembering, I'm not talking about like remembering past lives or remembering karma. The type of astrology that I do is evolutionary astrology, and it's based on the soul's journey through many lifetimes. But when I talk about this energy and a soul awakening, a soul memory coming up, it's not about something that happened in a past lifetime. It's about our souls remembering exactly what we came here to do. Expand love, expand compassion, and fulfill our potential of whatever that energy created us to do. That energy being God or whatever you believe a higher power to be. So this doorway that we're going to walk through is a moment that evolutionary astrologers like myself have been talking about and anticipating for decades. I can't impress upon you guys enough how important this time is in our life and for the species of humans that we are. Saturn enters Aries. We have a new moon solar eclipse in Aquarius, and this rare history-defining conjunction of Saturn and Neptune at 1 degree of Aries. I talked in the last show a lot about what Aries energy is, what Aquarius energy is, etc. So you can always go back and watch that show if you'd like. But for purposes of tonight, this isn't just about astrology. This is an initiation into a whole new energetic field that we're going to be feeling. It is the beginning of the future. So think about what you want to take with you, because the past is no longer. Nothing that was in the past, especially if it's something that wasn't good for us, is coming forward with us. And that's why we see all of these things coming up that are truth coming out and things collapsing, because this is like a cleansing. So let's set the stage a little bit. So the first thing in this cosmic trifecta, the landscape, is Saturday, February 14th, Saturn went into Aries. Neptune's already there. Neptune just left Pisces about a week or 2 ago to go into Aries. It had been in Pisces since 2011. So it ended that cycle. New cycle in Aries. Now Saturn, which was in Pisces for almost 3 years, goes to Aries, ending that 3-year cycle. The last time that Saturn was in Aries was 1996. April of 1996 to February of 1999 was the last time that Saturn was in Aries. So think back to those dates and what was going on, because it takes 36 years for Saturn roughly to go around the whole zodiac. So being at the first degrees of Aries means that it's now completed a 36-year cycle and it's beginning a new one. However, because it's meeting up with Neptune there, which in recorded history has never happened before, Saturn and Neptune meet up on a regular basis, but they've never met up at the first degree of Aries. Why is that so significant? Aries is the sign that is the beginning of spring. It is known as beginnings, fresh energy. It's new emerging energy. It's a beginning point. So think about it. We've got all of this energy coming into newness on an eclipse in Aquarius. So this is about really big endings and really big beginnings. And that's why I say, think about what really matters to you and what you want to bring forward in your life, because you don't want to bring the crap forward, because that's going to be your future for a very long time. This is about really creating and using our resources and our full potential, to finally have the life that we always dreamed about. And that's why I say this is a soul memory. It's our soul awakening and remembering what we really came here to do. It doesn't have to be any big grand gesture. We don't have to be a Hollywood movie star or, the MVP of the game. It could, like I said last week, mean maybe you're meant to be a mom or a dad, or maybe it's meant that you're just going to work on relationships in your life or pursue a career that you really want to do. But there's something you came here to do. I can tell you what that is if I look at your chart. So book a reading at zenkuda.com. But you know it. Your soul always knows. And that's why the soul is now awakening to remembrance. So this February 14th with Saturn going into Aries sets the stage. Saturn is the planet of structure, karma, responsibility. Remember, I talked about radical self-responsibility in this energy. And so when it enters Aries, it's entering the sign of new beginnings, of ignition, of instinct, of new emerging energy. Saturn hasn't been there, like I said, since 1996. So when it arrives, now it's going to have a very different mission. It's completed the whole cycle of the zodiac of whatever was birthed in 96. And now it's a whole new world, a whole new day, a whole new everything. Now, just 3 days later, which is tomorrow, February 17th, we have that lunar eclipse in Aquarius. And the third thing that happens is February 20th, Neptune and Saturn meet up in Aries. So why does this matter? Let me put it into context for you if I haven't done that already. In evolutionary astrology, again, we look at the soul's journey across many lifetimes. We look at the deep purpose behind the transits, behind where the planets are. When I look at your birth chart, I look at the deeper purpose and the meaning of why you were ignited, which is what I call being born, with the stars exactly aligned that way. And that is something that doesn't just happen. It happens for a reason. So that's the deeper meaning of the chart. And right now, the question would be for all of us is, when we look at our soul's journey, why were we chosen to live at exactly this moment when something's going to happen that's never happened before in recorded history? Why were we chosen to have this beautiful awakening, this soul memory, to have this energy that is given to us as a gift to meet our full potential? Now, I know that there's a lot of things going on in the world that don't seem good right now, but that's because people are waking up and remembering, and it makes them very unsettled. So when I say that this is about radical self-responsibility, what you're seeing out there in the world now, the chaos, the tumultuousness, the unsettled energy, that's the choice. We're being faced with a choice point, a radical choice of which way we want to go. And it means taking a lot of self-responsibility of what's right for us and actually doing that and stepping into that. And that's what Saturn represents. It represents maturity, accountability, structure, boundaries, right? Boundaries. In Pisces, we had no boundaries. Everything was just floating around. And now we're all feeling a little squirrely because we want to make some boundaries. And Saturn is the consequences of our choices. That's the planet that comes down hard, shows us where we've been in error, right? Wherever it is in your chart, first house, second house, wherever house is it's in, that's going to be the theme. Saturn's going to teach you there. It's going to pull back on the indulgences to show you your limitations so that you have discipline, self-responsibility, maturity. Think about that word responsibility, responding to your ability, knowing what your resources are inside and responding to that, making the most of who you really are. So with that first degree of Aries, when these two planets meet, Neptune and Saturn, this is about that dreaminess of Neptune, the mysticism, the connection, actually coming into a place of structure, making it reality. Dreams can become real in this energy. And that's why it's so important to figure out what really matters, what you want to bring forward. Because if you bring the illusions forward, you're going to be living in them for a really long time. If you bring the stuff that really isn't meaningful, you're going to have that mediocre feeling like I'm just walking through life in survival mode life. This is about Saturn and Neptune coming together and asking us to grow up spiritually. How can I expand more love in my life? How can I be more compassionate? How can I forgive? How can I make every day count and use my energy where it's supposed to be used? It's a moment when everyone on the planet, everyone in humanity is being asked to grow up spiritually. So we've got Saturn going into Aries. We've got the eclipse coming in, right? This energy is also the energy of the end of avoidance. We can no longer tolerate things that we can't tolerate. I always say it's the point of intolerance that always makes us grow. We can't procrastinate anymore. It just isn't going to happen. We just doesn't feel right for us. We're going to start doing those things that we kept putting off. There's no such thing with these planets in Aries. There's no such thing as I'll deal with it later. If you try to do that, the universe is going to make you deal with it, force you to deal with it. And if you want it to be gentle, then do your Saturn and say, where have I been overindulgent? Where have I procrastinated? Where have I kept pushing the can down the road and not, putting on my big boy and big girl panties and making the decisions and setting the boundaries and ending the things that need to end and going forward with the things that need to be in my life in the future. So you can't hide behind that old identity. You can't hide behind the girl who's nice, the guy who just provides for the family but goes to a job he hates every day. He's going to quit. That's the energy. So Aries is the sign of instinct. It's a sign of courage and initiation. So in this energy, we have the courage to quit the job and the relationship, get healthy, whatever that can you're kicking down the road is. In this energy, we have the initiation, we have the courage, we have the instinct to actually say, Saturn, you've been my teacher. Let me finally learn. And we start to break free. And in doing that, we get to show the world what we're really made of. We can lose the weight. We can have a better partnership. We can find the ideal mate. We can make the business really work. We can do all those things because now we're not in the crap. We're not floating around saying, well, someday I'm going to do this. No, this energy is really strong. So you may feel a deep urge to break free in this energy because Uranus is having a conversation of tension with Saturn and Neptune and also Pluto. And in doing that, it can sometimes feel so uncomfortable that we just want to be liberated. And Aries is an energy where when I see where Aries is in the chart, it shows me where we've been repressed or held down or controlled in some way. Because that's how we find our liberation and freedom. If we're not held down, we're not controlled, then we don't know what we need to strive for. We feel liberated. So we're not looking for liberation, if that makes sense. So we need tension in our life in order to grow. We need someone to hold us down, tell us we can't do something, repress us, in order for us to break free from something and now find our own strength and our own agency. So Aries is an energy where in the chart, we feel that repression, we feel that suppression, we feel the limitation. It could even be something from childhood. You had a very dominant parent, or maybe you're in a dominant marriage or relationship, or maybe your boss is very dominating. And now in this energy, you'll have this deep urge to break free from that and liberate. You'll also have a sense that time is sped up because Saturn is time and karma. And in Aries, it's a fire sign. It's one of the fastest signs in the zodiac. So time will be really quick. We're going to see a lot of things start to happen really, really quickly out in the world. Pressure to act, because Aries can be a very impulsive energy. And energy is going to be around here for a long time now, at least until the summer. So, because we have all these planets going through. So you're going to have a burning desire to start fresh things. And this will lead to discomfort with anything that's stagnant. And that's why I say, the procrastination just isn't going to have the momentum it used to have. So Aries can be an impulsive energy, but because this is more of a soul awakening, try and take that time, like we saw in this first card that I picked, this Four of Swords, which is a card of quiet repose, going in and, getting that time alone, that rejuvenation time, the reset. And it's very important to do that in this energy because if we're in chaos, Aryan energy can make us very aggressive. It's the god of war, Aries, and it can make us really lash out and be impulsive. and almost it could end up, you're your own worst enemy. So you really want to make sure you're tempering yourself. Saturn in Aries is the karmic reminder that your life is happening now. There's no other time but now. If you're living in the past, Saturn in Aries is not going to let you do that. And it's very important to move forward, because the other thing that will start to happen is you'll start to feel physically sick if you're trying to hold all the weight of things that are very, in your field of energy and draining you. So I just want to say hi to some people. I have Joanna on here. She's saying hi. Hey, Joanna. I'm glad you love the comedy, because I know it doesn't always fit in, but like we take ourselves way too seriously. And I just wanted to say that Taurus picks up the pieces. That's a very good observation. Taurus does, because it's very grounding. So cool to do that. Hey, Sarah, I see that you're on tonight too. Really great. And I love all of you out there. And I'm just sending extra hugs and kisses and hearts out, because I know that this energy can be really, really difficult for us. And just stick with it, because I will tell you that things will calm down. And try not to get too upset about things that you see in media and in the news right now, because I'm going to tell you, it's not going to stay this way. We're in such a rapid time warp right now that things are really going to change a lot. And also, this is a week, and up until, I'm going to say, the end of February, when things are going to be shocking. Like, even if there's something in your field of energy right now that you are mystified about, or you're looking for an answer for, or, I really don't want to bring headlines in too much, but like, it's so prominent now in the States, this missing person, Nancy Guthrie. I guarantee you, whatever the outcome of that is a complete plot twist, something completely unexpected. And that's what we're going to be experiencing in our own lives. Things are going to start to like culminate, but in a completely unexpected way. Like, I didn't have that on my bingo card kind of thing. So remember that, expecting that, because I was having a conversation with my friend Yvonne over the weekend, and we were talking about Uranus and this Aquarian eclipse. And you might have sudden clarity, because, and the reason why I'm talking about Uranus is because it rules Aquarius. So you will have sudden clarity, and sometimes it can feel really odd. Like, I had a few sensations where, and Yvonne and I were talking about this, where you might just feel like you don't belong. Like, you're in a room and all of a sudden you feel like, I don't belong here, or something very different. You may feel, I was talking to my friend Trisha about this the other day. You may feel almost an underwater effect, or like everything's surreal. That's the energy changing. It's a very, very potent thing. And also, I think sometimes our psyche will develop certain complexes or run certain self-defense mechanisms when energy is very heightened, like making us feel out of it or removed or detached. And Aquarius can be a very detached energy. So just, try and stay grounded, really go out in nature. And like Sherry says, really excited to experience new beginnings. Hi, Nancy. I'm glad you made it on. But you will find a shift. And a lot of times, because Aquarian energy can deal a lot with our friend groups and people around us, you may see a shift in the people coming and going in your life, things like that. But this is really a call to step into our authentic self. So we will have a desire to kind of get rid of what's outdated. So this main event, okay, that's the eclipse energy. So this main event, which is the Saturn conjunct Neptune at 1 degrees Aries, and this is really what I want to devote most of the show to today. It's that remembering. It's the remembering of what the soul came here to do. And it's the remembering of what feels normal, like what feels right for us. Like, I remember the first time I started to really do yoga, this way back in like 2010. And the most beautiful sensation that I ever had in yoga was at the end of my yoga practice. I would sit on my mat, and it was the first time in my life I ever experienced just being. And what I mean by just be is I didn't have any place to go. Nothing felt urgent. I didn't feel rushed. I didn't feel like I had anyone to please, had to make a phone call or make sure I did something. I would just sit and just be in that space. And it was the most beautiful freedom that I have ever felt in my life. So the first question asking yourself, like I said on last week's show, is what do I want to take with me to the future? Because this is a radical future. Second question would probably be, what does freedom feel like to me? When you think about freedom and the energy of freedom, what does it taste like? What does it smell like? What does it feel like? If you could touch freedom, what would it feel like? And then where in your life is that a needed thing? Where in your life is that sensation, something that you can reach out and bring into your life and create? Because we all did come here to feel free and be liberated. Our choices should lead us to that. And that's the Saturn, Neptune, and Aries in a nutshell. It's about emerging from anything that has you limited or held down, whether it's a thought in your brain, a fantasy, an imagination that you think you walk in a room and someone might seem they're in a bad mood and immediately think it's your fault. That's your own limitation. That's your own repression. Aries energy is going to make that come to the surface so you can look at it, heal it. We have Chiron, which is a planet of wounds and healing, also in Aries right now. That's not a coincidence. God gave us that. Because in this energy, we can burn through the debris in order to find our own healing. So illusions collapse. Those illusions, like I just gave you an example of always feeling like I had to be somewhere and call someone and I had something to do. That was an illusion. I'm in control of my life, not those things. So sitting on that mat after I finish yoga is a beautiful reminder of that for me, that I am free. They're my choices, my choices. So illusions will collapse in this energy. Neptune dissolves fantasies, delusions, spiritual bypassing. We all know those people. And denial. And Saturn will force us to see what's real. But it doesn't do it to harm us, even though it may be uncomfortable as hell. It does it so that we can break free from it. This isn't good for me. I don't want to do it anymore. It's really almost that simple. So they say together, you can no longer pretend, you can't do it. So spiritual responsibility will awaken when we get to that point. And it's not about escaping into spirituality or being on the mat or being in meditation or delving into astrology for 20,000 years. It's not about that. It's about sitting with yourself. All those boogie monsters that we keep under our beds, shake their hands. They're there to teach you something. In this energy, we have to take that radical self-responsibility and say, I'm responsible for my own awakening. It's not about running to church, which that's good. I have a lot of things that make me feel spiritually whole and community, and it's good. But it's not about that. It's about running to church and sitting with yourself there. It's not about burying yourself in a community. It's about your space with God. Taking that responsibility for your own awakening. The dream becomes form. Whatever you dreamed, now we can breathe fire, Aries, fire into it and bring it life and create it. We have the ignition of Aries. Neptune gives us the vision and Saturn gives us the structure. Beautiful, beautiful energy. Collective karma is rewritten because now we're healing the past. We're healing ancestral karma. We're breaking patterns. We're ending an era of passive spirituality where, I'll go to church on Sunday because it's Sunday. No, it means something to people now. We're ending centuries of conditioning, the patriarchal societies, the cultural things, religious beliefs, everything. Like even when I see, once you really are awakened, you can see the patterns. Kennedy now, who is doing the food and I forget his title. Excuse me, I don't really do current events a lot. But he's now revamping in the United States the way that we eat and the food. That's the end of conditioning. We're not supposed to eat margarine. I can't believe it's not butter. It's not good for you, right? All these things. It sounds silly, but it's all part of the same thing. We're ending the belief that someone else will save us. We're ending the belief there's a new invention. We're ending the belief that we're waiting for Mr. Right, Mrs. Right. No, I have a news flash for you guys. You can write this down. You are the one you've been waiting for. It's you. You are the one you've been waiting for. Everything you need, you got it. Work on it, and then chances are probably about 100% that your match is out there and will find you when you're whole. And that's because a new identity emerges. That's Aries energy, the new identity. It's I am. I am present. I am here. That is Aries energy. We emerge, we become. And that's why it's a rebirth of the whole world. So Aries energy is where you want to take up space. That's why, what do you want to take into your future? And then I just want to say that this energy is not subtle. It's not. You can see it if you watch news and media. It is not subtle. This is spiritual wildfire. And if we use it correctly, it's a choice point. If we use it correctly, assertion, moving ourselves to the future we really want, or the dark side, aggression. I'm right. My way's right. Might is right. If you don't look like me, dress like me, talk like me, vote like me, believe like me, you're wrong. And I'm going to take you down. So which is the choice point? Which direction? In this energy, we need to take bold action. But we need to take bold action for ourselves and what we want for our own future. So Uranus and Gemini. It's going to go into Gemini in July. Uranus is the Great Awakener. I'm bringing this in because it rules the Aquarian eclipse and also because it's in this conversation of tension with Neptune and Saturn going into Aries. What does all this mean? Well, as all of this unfolds, Uranus is preparing to enter Gemini, which is an air sign. Aries is fire. We all know what happens. Air fuels fire. So the energy that I'm talking about now is going to be with us for a very long time because even in July, when Uranus, the ruler of Aquarius, where Pluto is, and also conversation of tension with Neptune and Saturn right now, goes into Gemini. What is Gemini energy? It's air, it's technology, it's new things, it's pioneering energy like Aquarius. It's all about commerce also, and anything that's mercantile. Gemini is ruled by Mercury. You know, the way we do business, merchants. So I imagine there will be quite disruptions to, money and stock markets and things like that. But Uranus brings sudden change. It's the disruptor. And it disrupts things again so that we see where things are not quite fitting together for us and where we need to make it better. But it brings in innovation and liberation. It's going to breathe air into the fire and make the fire go higher. But the great thing about Uranus is, not so great, is that while we're in a Uranus transit, which is what this is all going to be, we can't really see the why. And that's why I say don't get upset about things that are happening currently because it's going to change. Things are going to move really rapidly and they're going to be quickly changing, sudden shocking changes for good, for not so good, for all kinds of things. But it pushes out the complacency. In this energy, things really start to change. And Uranus will tell you if it's not aligned with the soul, it cannot stay. And that's why it's the disruptor. But we don't understand it all until Uranus kind of teaches us. So when you're in it and things are kind of unstructured and things seem like you don't know where they're headed, just have faith and let Uranus, let Saturn, Neptune, let Pluto and Aquarius drive the car. And know that the universe is much more wise and loving than you can even imagine. And that we're all going to be okay and everything's going to be great. As long as we stay in the higher octave of the energy and use this fire, this spiritual wildfire, for assertion into what we want our best life to be. Don't be so concerned with everything or everybody around you if they're not fitting in with your ideal life and what you want your future to be. Expand love, expand compassion, expand, liberation, innovation, empathy. But don't get caught up in the noise. Use that beautiful assertion and fire energy in order to create your life. So this is where you take responsibility, wherever Aries is in your birth chart, where you take action, where you break free, where you awaken, and where you begin again. This is not a time to wait. It's not a time to doubt. This is not a time to cling to the past. Like I said last week, this is go time. So wherever Aries is in your chart, and if you need a reading, sankuda.com. But if Aries is in your first house, it's going to be all about you, baby. This is about your relationship with yourself, new emerging energy, liberating you and your personality, and really yourself is in the focus. If it's the second house, it's going to be all about, value, belongings, money, things like that. but really it's about the heart of the matter, self-preservation, where you feel safe, things like that, what safety looks like for you. Third house, it's all about communication. It could also be neighbors, cousins, things like that, but it's really communication if it's Aries is in your third house. In an energy like this, be careful if Aries is your third house, because you may want to really speak out of turn or blurt things out that are more impulsive or aggressive. So really choose your words carefully. Fourth house, which is where it is in my chart, is all about family, ancestral karma, boundaries, making boundaries with your family, your home. You may find yourself wanting to remodel or redecorate or move. It's about your physical home and also the home within. This is about liberating yourself so that you really feel at home in your own skin. Fifth house, it's all about creativity and children. In an energy like this, if Aries is your fifth house, you may find yourself really fertile. So take the precautions if you don't want to have a baby, but you're also going to be very, very creative. This is a great time if Aries is your fifth house to paint, draw, things like that. Sixth house, be careful of your health. It's also going to be about learning where you're competent, and where adjustments have to be made so that you can really show your competency, but also watch your health if it's your sixth house. If Aries is in your seventh house, it's all about relationships, how you relate to people and what you need to change, what you need to set boundaries with, it may also make relationships come in and out of your life. Eighth house, it's all about transformation, inheritances, taxes, money coming in and going out. But it's mostly about sometimes spouses' money or partner money or inheritances like you will get from a parent or a sibling or a partner. And it's also deep, deep transformation in the eighth house. This is about soul transformation. In the ninth house, if you have Aries in the ninth house, it's going to be about the deeper meaning of life, higher education, spirituality. You may find yourself taking a healing course or taking a higher education course or just learning something new, and also traveling far and wide, abroad. That's if it's in the ninth house. If it's in the 10th house, Aries, this is about your work in the world, how the world sees you. Also disposing of conditioning and anything that was a belief system that really doesn't benefit you is just going to collapse if it's your 10th house. It's really how the world sees you differently. If it is in your 11th house, this is all about hidden enemies, people that, have frenemies with, but it's also about groups of people, community, church groups, hobby groups, work groups, any social group or anything that you belong to that is a community. You may find that changing or truth coming out in regards to these things. If it is your 12th house, that is deep, soulful work. This is about you are going to change on a cellular level, disruptions to very deep and meaningful things for you. So in closing, I just want to tell you guys, I'd like to just, bring us all to a place of center. And I love that we have some people on live tonight. I know there's always so much more people who watch us. Hey, Trisha, who watch us on the replay as well. So I'm going to put some energy out to everyone. And if you want to just, take a deep breath with me and put your hand on your heart, if that's available to you, and just repeat quietly to yourself, I choose clarity. I choose courage. I choose my soul's truth. And I am ready for my new beginning. And just smile at your heart and take a deep breath and lock that little light in there. And use that to create your life, your light. If you'd like a reading, you know where to go. Zenkuda.com. I'm going to thank everybody for joining me tonight. And remember, whatever matters to you most is what you want to bring in your future. So until next time, stay grounded, stay awakened, and stay in your soul. I am Georgia Rose. I'm here every Monday night at 7. You can watch me on all podcast platforms, and you can also book a reading at Zenkuda.com.